And joining us now is the new coach, Joel Quenneville. Nice to meet you, sir. Thank you very much for coming out. First of all, it's going to be a big day for you, NHL coach. How's that sound?
It sounds fun. A very exciting day for me and my family. We look forward for this day. Once I became a coach 6 years ago in St. John's, Newfoundland, it was my desire to hopefully one day become a head coach in the National Hockey League. I feel very, very thankful for the Blues organization and management for giving me my start here in St. Louis, and I look forward for a great start.
Has any team courted you like this before? Is this the most Jerry Ritter and Ron Caron came after you? Has any team ever been out after you like that?
This summer I've had a chance to interview with the Phoenix Coyote job, and these people were great. The process was tremendous, considering we're in the middle of a hockey season, working with a different hockey club. I thought both meetings went very well, and I'm very impressed with the people I'll be working with. And it says a lot about the Blues management and organization that they're some smart people and bright people, and I look forward to working with them.
The team and the town has been, in the last 2.5 years, under a lot of controversy back and forth, a lot of instability. Do you think you can bring that to the team and just make it to where they won't even really remember the coach's name? Because here, that's all we heard was the coach's name. Do you want to keep it that way, where you're low-key, or how do you go about that?
I certainly low-key as possible. I think the team is the image that we want to portray, team building, and the players front and center. And we want to make it fun for the players coming to play, but we're going to be competitive, we're going to play hard, and we're going to be accessible to the media, and the guys are going to be, I think they're going to enjoy coming and playing.
And you came from a Stanley Cup team. How's this team? It's kind of average right now. What do you plan to do with it?
Well, I don't think we foresee wholesale changes. We may make minor adjustments. We haven't even had a chance to evaluate the personnel and the staff yet. The staff that I get to work with have been very fortunate. Jimmy Roberts and Roger Nielsen are great hockey minds. Roger's my first coach when I broke in with Toronto. And Jimmy, I got to work and see Jimmy around when I was in Hartford. And they both have a wealth of experience, and I feel that they're going to make me a better coach.
It's Joe Quenneville, the new Blues coach. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
And congratulations.
He's got a lot of coaching experience, and I guess as importantly, he's had a lot of playing experience. He played for 15 years in this league, so I mean, he was a combative defenseman, and I think he was very conscientious about his positioning, and that can't help but rub off on our young defense and young forwards.
You want to be able to go to your boss and your leader and find out what direction he wants you to go, or if he wants you to change your direction, not only myself, but every single guy. And for those lines of communication to be open, I don't think there's anything more important.
All right, we're back now, and joining us is the GM once again, Ron Caron. How does that sound?
Sounds very good. I've been in it, for 2.5 weeks, and it's fun again. Being with the right people and being inspired and attempting to win games. And as we had our share of doing the right things on the last trip, I feel very good.
Now, at the beginning of the season, if someone came up to you and said, Ron, January, you'll be the GM, what would you have said to them?
Oh, I don't know, because I don't perceive future abilities as possibilities or realities. A lot of people were close to me, you should come back and all that. I feel good what I'm doing and so forth. So, but, I'm physically correct and mentally inspired. Let's say I was ready to say yes to any time to take over, the destinies of the Blues.
So when you quit and became the vice, were you mad, or not mad, but kind of disappointed that you had to relinquish your role there?
The way it came so quickly that, I had no time to really prepare myself, but the fact that I would stay with the Blues for consultant made me feel good, and I might not have been consulted as frequently as I would have liked to, but it's a privilege. When they don't need you, that's fine. So I have no axe to grind with the former government.
How much was your input with this new coaching decision? I mean, it seemed like you were the only real hockey man in on that.
Well, I am the only real hockey man, if you want it. involved with the organization outside of the assistant coaches that are true hockey men. But when you appoint someone a GM, this is not only his job, but his obligation to select some people. But we're starting to work very, very well, Mark Sauer and myself, and we followed the usual rule and interviewed 3 candidates. We were ready for a 4th one when my boss said, let's go back to the last guy. I'm very impressed. And we stayed, went a 2nd time, and today's reality is our head coach.
Was he the number 1 choice, or was Demers, or how did that work out?
Well, he
there?
became the number 1 as we interviewed everybody. We gave every candidate the same chance, you know, to convince us that, but this guy came out, you know, above. Paul McLean was great also. And it appeared Jacques was okay, don't get me wrong,
right.
But he belongs to the other style in terms of enthusiasm, motivation, and so forth. But there's got to be some time for teaching, and that's why the ownership really appreciated the fact that there were 2 candidates at age 38, and certainly in a position to take over the values of our young guys.
You've had 2.5 years to think about it. Do you have any brainstorming going on with new player moves?
Well, we're going to operate a little different. We don't have that many to move now. Our picks are gone, and we got several players that we would like to move, but it'll be tough. And by moving them, we'll probably get similar players in return. We're going to discuss this with the coach. He'll have a lot to say, lots of input, because you got to live with the athletes and win. That's why our new slogan is harmony with stability, and we intend to make use of that.
Do you think this franchise is in a little trouble with all the movement that's gone on and at the loss of the draft picks? Do you think they're in a little trouble, or what would you say about that?
No. The acquisition of our new coach today should make up for quite a bit of the future we lost. But remember, a lot of picks have never developed into returning. It seems we're better with the bottom line of our picks than the top line. The last 3 years we had an NHL leaguer with our last pick. Libor Zabrinsky was the last selection in 1995, I should say. And we had Krister Olsen in 1994. So we got lots of good college prospects. Worcester's in first place. I think we're in better shape than we ever were, because you never know, even though you're missing a couple of picks here and there, you never know how they're going to turn.
So would you say the meat is back on the burner? Are we going
We're going to start turning the rotors and so forth. We'll wait a little bit because we'd like to win some games. And until the coach comes back and gives his evaluation of his hockey team, we won't be in a hurry.
Ron, congratulations. We're going to go back and hear from some more of the players, but thanks very much for doing the interview, all right?
My pleasure.
No, he's trying to put together a system, and it's going to take a little bit of time to implement the system. So, I mean, practice are going to be a little bit slow to start, but all in all, it's very good.
What do you think of the system?
Well, I mean, it's one that we can use. You know, every team's got one, so we got to have one of our own.
It's a new spark. All the enthusiasm is up. We saw it out there today.
Well, I hope so. I mean, everybody's happy. We finally got settled down. We're back to where we know what we're doing and where we're going and how to get there. So, you know, guys are a little bit anxious to get things rolling.
You know, I think guys are pretty enthusiastic and looking forward to getting out there and working for Joel.
And now joining us is Mark Sauer. How much input did you have in this move, bringing in Joe Quenneville and then Ron Caron being the GM?
Well, those are my recommendations to Jerry Ritter, the Blues chairman. I was involved in all the interviews of the coaches, but you know, I'm just one of the folks in the decision-making process, along with Ron Caron and Jerry Ritter.
The word that's been used is stability. Do you have the coach, the GM in place? What are some of the other things you'd like to do now to keep the franchise moving and going upward?
Well, we've made a lot of progress in the last 3 weeks on naming the coach and the general manager. Now it's a chance for me to take some time and get to know the Blues organization and get up the learning curve. So I don't want to really address or predict how long it's going to take me to get in a position where I can make other changes, if indeed other significant changes have to be made. And I come in believing that the vast majority of the difficulties we have, frankly, stemmed from the changes we just made. So let's digest those, get to know one another. People have to get to know me. So this will go somewhat deliberately now.
And with the fans, what can they expect to have more? Is there any more fan-friendly things coming up? You know, they had the thing in December with...
Well, I think that all this fan-friendly, what we have to do is put the best team on the ice, which we will do with Joel Quenneville and Ron. We clearly can make the players more accessible, and that sort of stuff, sadly, we got away from, and we can do that immediately.